My political ideology is whatever leads to this.
This is Solarpunk, a movement of writers, artists, dreamers, creating a vision for what the future could be. A world where humans thrive alongside nature, build strong community, and technology is a side perk, rather than humans existing as subservient to the processes by which technology advances. And just look at it. What more do I need to say? Do I need to convince you further? It's so nice and comfy. Oh man, look at that lady. Look at tree. I mean, it's self-explanatory, right? Train. That thing. That's why my political ideology is,
I think the best way to describe Solarpunk is that their ideology is pictures.
Oof. This is, honestly, a fair criticism. This is riffing on a different tweet. Same idea. Here it is. Much funnier picture. Presumably much worse political ideology. Usually, the collision between sports cars and Roman Empire cosplay does not signify a mind for progress.
My political ideology is whatever leads to this. Meow, meow, meow.
But a good point in both instances is raised. What is the function of a pseudo-political aesthetic? Who cares? You want to look at some pretty pictures? I do. Look at that. Wow. Wow. I love this one and that one. Look at these. Now, see, this one's, I don't see this one. I don't get it. Okay. These aren't very practical. Let's go back to, okay, that's better. These soothe my brain. They make me feel like I don't have to drive from the suburbs to the city every morning at 8:15. Okay. Think about the Singapore airport. Singapore airport. That's better. These images are so satisfying because what they look like represents a change we want to already have occurred. We want green tree, garden, community train, renewable energy, bicycle. We crave it. Like, look at what the world could be if whatever leads to this led to it in the way that it would. Somehow. So, have you ever heard someone say, I'm gonna write a book, but I need to stop telling people that I'm gonna write a book because then I get that sweet dopamine hit just from describing the fact that I am definitely writing a book. And if you want to know, it's about lava wizards and there's a love quadrangle and it's 1,600 pages of super sexy wizard action in the middle of a volcano. But then I never actually write the book. I spend all of my book writing energy and get all of my book adjacent satisfaction purely from telling people that I am definitely, totally gonna write a book someday. Same. I don't want to foster a societal, ecological, technological revolution. I want to live in the byproduct of the conditions that someone else brought about, whatever they were, however that happened, which fostered an ecological, societal, technological revolution that already happened. Is that too much to ask? Naturally, all of our favorite solarpunk inspo takes place when we've already gotten there. That's what makes it inspirational. Or I guess the better word would be aspirational. Black Panther's Wakanda, Dear Alice's beautiful yogurt utopia, even Ponga, the fictional, beautiful future reality in which A Psalm for the Wild Built takes place. In all of these, we already did the thing. Or rather, someone else already did the thing. We're there now. Hooray. I love this. Look at that. Look at this. Look at that. Wow. Don't you just wish? Don't you wish? Oof, look at this. Look at this one. Great. Good. Love me some humanless domes. I think that's just a dog. I don't know what's so solarpunk about that. Well, there are a lot of criticisms to this type of aspirational multiplayer hallucination. But this is an important phase of change-making. When you see images like this, what you're seeing is collective dreaming. When I was a labor and climate organizer, we would sometimes have a collective dreaming meeting. We would all gather and sit together and talk about what it would look like if we won. How do we get there comes later. For now, let's inspire ourselves and each other with the beautiful vision of what the world would look like if we worked together and we won. This was a way to get us jazzed about what we were doing, to remind ourselves what we were fighting for, to rally around how good things could get, and use that to inspire action. For me and my fellow labor and climate organizers, that meant having a company that would prioritize its climate impacts in decision making. It meant no selling our products and services to oil and gas companies. It meant retrofitting our offices to be carbon negative and including carbon neutrality as an OKR for our products. It meant having all workers, all employees, temporary workers, contractors in every office, in every role, given the exact same respect and labor protections. It meant having workers be included in decisions for how to handle their teams, no more overwhelmed managers, more transparency across the company. How do we win? We have to figure that out. And it's going to be hard, and it's going to take a long time, but we have to know and be able to describe what we're fighting for and why it will be so good to convince our colleagues that it's a worthy cause. So when you're seeing people say, solarpunk is worth fighting for because look at how this pretty picture makes you feel, you are seeing one person adding their voice to the collective dream. And it is a tool in the Changemaker's toolkit. Am I saying I think we should be collectively dreaming this? No. And that's the problem with aesthetics. If they don't imply their values loudly enough, well, you get that someone who's gonna go, ooh, I get it. Solarpunk is when spaceship. Solarpunk is robot. Solarpunk is dome. Solarpunk is that fucking honeycomb pattern you see everywhere. And then, what are we fighting for exactly? What future are we building? Well, this. Building with plant. Solarpunk is when plant's building. So criticism of this aesthetic is important because anything can be co-opted. And unfortunately, I think solarpunk might be a little too easy to co-opt. The people who kept telling us for decades that they were building the future, solarpunk is just a little too easy for them to slide right in and go, you said solarpunk is when robot? Well, I have robot. You heard me criticize this anti-human, depopulated version of solarpunk where the extent of our imagination is Rivian is solarpunk because green and curvy. Cybertruck is cyberpunk because pointy and gray.
Cyberpunk is sort of this, like, it's dystopia, you know, everything's like metal and concrete and
triangles.
Low poly. It's kind of depressing, but it's also got that edge to it. Whereas solarpunk is more natural. The architecture is blending with the environment. It's still a vision of the future. It's still futuristic, but also it's more human.
And you'll undoubtedly hear me criticize this again. There are two versions of Solarpunk right now, and they do not cooperate. And you've gathered that I like this version. And that's not to say that my version is without its critics. As this Blue Sky thread says, and I kind of agree with it, I don't completely agree with it, but time is linear, so just bear with me. I have to say one thing at a time, in some kind of order.
People should learn more about the origins of the SF genre and why using solarpunk to depict pastoral depictions might be a tad creepy. Pastoral fiction is a sort of garden/Edenic fantasy that was largely invented by the Romans as a means of escape from urban life. So much of the current solarpunk trend and art is a return to pastoralism with a high-tech tinge. It's a bunch of people who never worked on a farm fantasizing about doing a green acres and escaping a city for a simpler life, but now with solar panel robots. It fetishizes a lifestyle people may or may not want by pushing a weirdly conservative return to agrarian message. At its best, it's naive dreaming of a future they have no experience in. At its worst, it's pastoral fiction, rich kids fetishizing escaping the city and the pores to set up on a farm where robot butlers do everything for them.
Okay, so yes and no, right? We can both see how yes, but also no. I'm happy to call this version Pastoral Solarpunk, but I think what people are connecting to is not really robot do everything for us. Oh, hooray, I hate the city. I hate the pores. I think what people are connecting to is, wow, look at how happy and peaceful she looks. Oh, look at the public transportation from the school system. Isn't that nice? Look at how the community comes together around a healthy meal. Wouldn't it be nice if technology was used to enrich and make our lives easier rather than replacing humans entirely? Yes, it's a yogurt commercial. I know it's a yogurt commercial. And nothing is as easy as it would be in a picture or a book or a commercial. And Chobani will never be a champion of the revolution. But the real actual artists who worked on this created some images that a lot of people feel drawn to. And some things just don't seem possible until you see them done in art. Sometimes you don't even know that you want something until you see it depicted in art. And if a yogurt commercial is the way these images got originally distributed, I don't think that makes them meritless. I'm trying to engage with threads like this as necessary checks on collective dreaming. They are value reinforcement, just as much as the original images can be value reinforcement, but sometimes we do have to do that with words. An image often cannot imply its values as strongly as a text thread can. These are both important parts of steering the ship. It's good to remind people to be critical of visions of the future that corporations are okay with you seeing. Because most corporations are very, very happy to keep selling you now, but painted green. And I'm just gonna stake my claim here. That's not very solarpunk. My writing friend said it best once. I'm realizing that I don't want to write a book. I want to have written a book. And relatable, but unfortunately, to get there, you do kind of have to write the book. I think images can galvanize or they can quench revolutionary energy. So don't stop putting your images out into the world. Yes, even if you have to launder them through a yogurt commercial. And then don't stop critiquing the complacency that you worry will arise. Solarpunk is not the end-all be-all, and no, it's not the last hope for humanity. It's just a grain of sand around which we might build our pearl. Layer after layer after layer after image after YouTube video after blue sky thread. That building comes from inspiration, it comes from criticism, it comes from all of it. And yes, do be wary of co-optation. And make works about how we get there. Make works that help people connect the dots between a now they're experiencing and a future that they desire. Actionable, practical, human. Fuck those domes. My ideology is whatever leads to this. But if we want to make change, we have to turn the whatever into a what. Because we do want this. We want this. And because aesthetics absent ideology is the Singapore airport. And what good does that do any of us? Who cares? You want to look at some pretty pictures? Stay. No, you guys stay up there. You guys, I know, it's exciting. Stay, no. I'm gonna fall on you. Stay. Stay.
Meow, meow, pew, 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 pew. Oh no! Is that what you want? Let me know if you want me to do more of that.